Welcome, Rajanikanth to Savitri Foundation. We are extremely happy that you could spare time and make a presentation also. And I am particularly happy that you have agreed to have a brief discussion on certain aspects of Savitri. I may ask a couple of questions, and in that process, perhaps we can develop the theme of our discussion also. May I know when exactly you started doing Savitri?
Basically, it's a long time back. I didn't even know much about Sri Aurobindo or the mother. Heard about the Pondicherry ashram and all. One of my friend, who is an industrialist, was called to preside over the function of a school where the faculties were also being presented. The school teachers know they are much more leaders, audacious leaders than other scientists or professionals. So one faculty member talked about Sri Aurobindo and Savitri. Then this man, my industrialist friend, got awakened. He said, there must be what is Savitri, they are telling so much about Savitri and Sri Aurobindo. Then he came to the Bangalore Center of Sri Aurobindo Society and purchased the book on Savitri. It's a Bible edition because he seems to be a very close friend of mine. He purchased two books, one book he gave it to me. It is a Bible edition, small edition. Then I thought, see, at that time I was already a seeker, going here and there to different places. Ultimately, I landed in Savitri. I couldn't understand anything. But I had a perseverance to go through it even though I didn't understand. Read and reread about it. And that is how I came to the fold of Sri Aurobindo.
That was how long ago?
It is around the year 1986, I think.
1986.
And then my interest grew further and further. And the mother's call became much more intenser and intenser in spite of the initial hiccups.
So it's almost 25 years that you are connected with Savitri.
Right.
Do you find that in the entire course of your association with Savitri, you have been kind of growing into Savitri?
Yes, it is basically touches our day-to-day activities as well as our own heart. I don't find any other composition either in prose or poetry which comes anywhere to the exposition of Savitri so succinctly as Sri Aurobindo has put it. The next highest faculty is K.D. Setna, who is almost high level of poetry, slightly lower than the Lord himself. So that takes you to entirely a pinnacle of your spiritual experience when you start reading Savitri. That is purely my personal experience. And today I wanted to share that happiness in the form of the goal of Savitri, transformation in Savitri. That was my idea.
If you had to introduce Savitri at different levels, for instance, to college students, to academic people, to general people who are spiritually inclined, people who are critics of literature, how do you kind of approach?
I personally feel there need not be any different standards of approach at all. The basic truth is, if you tell them to read line by line and digest it and then go to the next line, or read the few pages and go to the next chapter, it doesn't carry weight. Because in respect of his qualification and his knowledge, he will not be able to understand Savitri at all in the first reading. That point should be made very clear. Everybody, whether it is a college student or a slightly spiritual inclined man or a scientist or whatever may be.
Yeah.
That is the first point which has to be recognized. Number two, he should have some basic requirements. His mind should be silent. It should not be perturbed by taking this. And you have to have that inner perseverance to come up in your life, the spiritual aspect. That seeking has to come. You should have that will. That will should be within you.
Yeah.
You have to develop that will. Without will, nothing could be done. When you have that will, then there are certain conditions which helps you to go through Savitri. Basically, it is like this. You should have a calm, unperturbed mind.
Yeah.
Have a fixed time of the day. Sit alone. Don't try to socialize before, even, and after. Have a quiet place. Try to fix up a particular time of the day where it is left entirely to yourself. Open the book, read it, go to the next page, read it, or reread it, whichever you like. Maybe 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or half an hour, depending upon your volition. So, what happens? Mind will not come into the picture. Initially, mind will try to disturb you. Suddenly he says she. Suddenly he says he. Suddenly he goes to some natural faculties. Then mind will not be able to grasp all these subtler spiritual truths. Because spirituality is a step higher than the mental level. You can't understand like a newspaper or a novel. So naturally mind stands nowhere. That's why I told you to have a silent mind and trust reading it. Then over a period of time, the vibration starts coming to you. The basic truth starts coming to you. That's why Mother has told very clearly, whether you understand or not, read Savitri. Repeatedly read Savitri. Then vibrations come, the proper intensity and proper time it will come. Then what happens? You read for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, close the book. Sit alone. Don't try to socialize in your room. Sit for 2 minutes, 5 minutes if you want. You don't have open space, sit for 15 minutes. Then you get obtain calmness. Causeless calmness. You can't explain. If you want to take a stroll, if you have a garden, go around. Don't try to mix with anybody. Go around. Obtain calmness. Why? What happens? Don't try to analyze it. Divine force. Lord has taken you to that level, at least for those few moments, without your own knowledge. But if you put mind, it becomes a hurdle.
Well, that is one way of looking at it, I will say. Basically, what I'm trying to say is this one. What you are saying is very, very true, very desirable, and that is the right thing also. In fact, that is the right thing for spiritual pursuit, for spiritual growth. Savitri as a sadhana grantha, from that point of view, is perfectly valid, very correct. But I am saying Savitri as a academic book. Can I see it at all in the Savitri as an academic book or not?
Definitely. You can
Exactly.
take it. You can take it.
Yeah.
It is a book of immense value.
Yeah.
You can do research.
Yes.
You can do lectures.
Yeah.
You can go deep into the spiritual as well as the physical aspects as well.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, spiritual is, we are keeping for a minute, it is understood. But I opened Savitri as a piece of literature, to use a very crude word, phrase, piece of literature. How do I approach Savitri from that angle, as a literary creation?
See, you want to see as a literary creation, there are two aspects of it. Even artists or composers, they don't use their mind as being used so strongly as by scientists.
Yes.
Scientists have to prove a particular theory. They go to the depth of the problem, pros and cons, and they need a proof. But artists and poets, they have their own way of dealing things. It will be of a spontaneous higher level, or whatever way we call. I cannot say higher. I am not condemning scientific level. It is a particular type of level they will be operating. At that level, some spontaneity has to come, even for a poet or an artist. Without spontaneity, he will not deliberately go on writing it. Then the jerks will come. You can find in the composition jerks will come. That sonority and continuity will not be there. You take the true artists. Say the mother herself. She was a great artist. She studied in the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. And see her abstract paintings. And Savitri herself she has painted. And how beautiful is it. See, I tell you the explanation of Savitri. Mother has taken Savitri about 4 or 5 lines or maximum 10 lines. She used to read and then explain with 5 sentences, that's all. Not elaborate explanation. And she has assumed that you have digested 50% of it. And then she gave an explanation on that. She was not telling you are an incomposed. She was not implicit. She has told that 50 to 60% is already grasped. And she has just given an explanation in 4 or 5 sentences. And then asked Hota to paint it with her own sketch. She gave her line diagram. And the depth of those paintings is so appropriate. What I told you, the presentation had taken 1 hour or so to do it, she was able to do it in 10 minutes. That is the beauty of the art. So all these artists have some inner feeling, inner thing is there. Even the poet, he has some inner feeling, it has to come by the heart. All these things will be touched through by this Savitri. That recognition will come for those people. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is how the creative art can enter into the spirit of Savitri and vice versa. That is all right, but still, I will put it in a different manner. You are giving the example of the mother. That is an exceptional example, not at all for you and me, certainly not for me. See, that is a totally different kind of a thing. Suppose I am a philosopher, I am a man of literary criticism, I am a scientist, and I would like to know whether I can find something in that area in Savitri. And how do I then extract that kind of a thing which will feed my not just curiosity but my thirst for knowledge in my area?
Yes. To tell you, as a matter of fact, there is not a single subject where he has not dealt in Savitri.
Precisely,
Astronomy, television, atoms, subatomic particles, all these things he has dealt in Savitri. So much of magnanimity and fund of knowledge is there, where the Lord, with his divine knowledge, was able to foresee and give the solution as well. The basic point which I would like to make these people who are in the different professions, scientists or these things, they should raise to a particular level to have a rapport with Savitri. It cannot be just do with any other subject and try to understand from that level. Because what happens if he is a scientist? Scientist is advanced to his own things. The law of uncertainty will come. See, whatever he deducts, it depends upon the constant which he is going to assume. The whole thing depends upon his assumption. There is a law of uncertainty already built in. Then the result also to some extent is. And there is also a possibility of hitting the dead end. Beyond that, he will not be able to do particle physics, subatomic things. And Sri Aurobindo, what he has told is, there is a purpose in all these things. There is a truth behind all these things. Nothing to get worried. Scientist is going in a particular way, artist is going in a particular way, or engineer is going in a particular way. But all these things, they are not covering a basic truth. That point is trying to highlight. But only thing is I would like to do is, as professor, I would suggest even knowledge will help a great deal in this aspect. You can sectionalize Savitri depending upon the professions they have. For instance, proton and photon has told. Somebody has told about the ingenuity of the engineers. And somebody has told of the emerald forest, painters. And see, the beauty of this Savitri, just you say emerald with lot of greenery, no. Emerald forest means it gives a gem-like beauty. All is covered with a golden sky. The whole atmosphere is changed. So like that, Lord has given perfection in all his creations in Savitri. Whether it is scientist or a drama or a engineer or television, whatever may be. They have got a great impetus and it done at a very high level. And there are sections which can catalyst to all these different professions what the professor is telling.
No, so basically, Prabhupana, I am not a spiritual man, but I have some kind of an intrinsic curiosity to know the basic truths in the field in which I am working. For instance, I am working, let us say, in the branch of material science, say physics. I am getting stuck in my branch of physics. And at the same time, I am curious to know whether I can find some solution here to my problems. And then I am looking for every kind of a help. In that situation, can Savitri provide me help?
I personally feel it will definitely.
In what way? How do I know? Because I have no other.
Not. See, Sri Aurobindo says, whatever is done here in this world, whatever is taking place, it is already taking place in a secular world. Whatever is imperfect, it is perfect there. Whatever it is distorted, it is perfect.
Yeah.
Understand? But for the human natural tendency or a physical scientist like you, you will not be able to grasp it. Very secular, very different.
No, then what is the use of it for me?
What is these things we will say? But these are the basic facts where he has proved. Sometimes when you are alone, higher light comes. Some of these things it comes. Where does it come? If it is not there, how do you come? Is it your imagination? But you will be a different man at that time. You see, what is happening is, the man, ordinary man, sometimes when he is enamored or something, behaves like a different man. A double personality will also come. And Sri Aurobindo has told many instances there where Ashwapati or Savitri herself is beaten. Even Savitri, Divine Mother, came down to save. But she was brooding over what is the Satyavan's fate. And then the divine voice, why, remember why you came, you are forgotten your mission. Like that, there are certain things, certain forces that are acting behind us which we ourselves don't know. I am not telling, passing comments on scientists, but it's already at the back of them. But only thing is, some eye has to be opened through Savitri. But I personally feel, I am not here to scientist to give a clear explanation upon this. It needs a lot of research work on this area, where the scientists can be of great help in giving the real clue of Savitri to the different professions which you give. It gives me immense help. But the fund is already there, that much I can say. Fund of knowledge is already there. And some work has to be done on that direction. And it is possible.
In what way we can help him, the scientist? The fund of knowledge is there at one end. The other person is a seeker of knowledge, but he has no access here.
Yeah.
So see, how do you?
That's why I told you some work has to be done in that field.
In what way?
Some research work has to be taken in this
field of
Savitri. See, he has to segregate where he has told about the scientist. Proton and photon he has told. Take that as the clue. Take that as the collier cells. Go backwards. Go forwards. You come to an area where in what connection he has told. You understand? Then Lord has not told anything through his hand. Everything he has foreseen. He is foreseen. See, there basically you have to recognize this. First you should have faith. Irrespective of whatever profession you told. There is a faith. Faith in Savitri, faith in Sri Aurobindo. That willingness and that support has to take place. If you start writing down from the beginning, nobody can help. First of all, that faith has to come. When that faith is there, 50% of the report is already built.
And in
addition to that, what I say is some research and other things has to go with this. Then both these things should have a meeting point. Because it is not that easy where I can give a clear-cut definition on this. Because this is a very fund of knowledge. There is no doubt about it. But a lot of work has to be done in this direction. I think.
So that is an open area.
Yes, definitely.
Perhaps that is an open area not only between Savitri and science. It is an open area in every branch of human activity. Through human effort, through human endeavor, through human pursuit, through human curiosity, which is a very genuine nature, you are making certain progress, but still you are getting kind of stuck. And you don't have access to Savitri. There is somebody who knows that the solution is there in Savitri. So how do you now make that thing kind of available to the person who is stuck there, who is a seeker? Seeker of knowledge, seeker of art, seeker of pursuit, or whatever you want to call it.
See, basically, you can't define the activity purely from the scientific point of view.
Yeah.
Scientists want everything physical proof. He wants a proof. Without that, I am not going to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Show me, direct or indirect proof you show me. Somewhere my formula should have to agree for that.
Mm.
Mathematician says, I can integer these things, please show me some clue where it can be coded. So here, basically it is like this. The spirituality is not a mental jaggery or going round and round in mental things. It has no direct answer to the quest of the physical sciences. The point I want to try to make is the spirituality is a step higher than the mental plane. And Sri Aurobindo has very clearly told mental level itself, higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, over mind and super mind. These are all different grades of things. Even neuroscientists are enamored about this analysis of what Sri Aurobindo has told about Chitta, Buddhi, Manas and all these things. He has gone to the very depth of the problem. And that's why I told you there is an open area where the people can take up these issues, and also not only with Savitri. Savitri is one of the things where is a magnum opus, but there are other readings like Life Divine, Synthesis of Yoga. All these things can help in this direction. For instance, in the Synthesis of Yoga, he has told so much about the mental faculty of where he can throw some light on the scientists, about the neuroscientists. A lot of things are involved in it. So taking this as a composite composition of Sri Aurobindo, this 3-4 major works of Sri Aurobindo in this field, I think with these things, to some extent, we should be able to find out. Because there's a dark area where no major work has been done yet. So that's what I feel about it. And it's a very good question you posed it. And it needs to be done further in that direction.
No, basically what it means that, well, I mean, let me ask you now, you are saying that Savitri, in that sense, alone is not sufficient unless you have Synthesis of Yoga, Life Divine and other works of Sri Aurobindo?
No, it is not like that. You say to, no, everybody will not be able to grasp Savitri unless he is read repeatedly. For me, it's easy for me to tell from Savitri and other things. But you posed a question in the beginning itself. The man who has not exposed to all these things, how does he get convinced about it? Then you take the prose version. There is a Synthesis of Yoga is there. And then Life Divine is there. Same, almost same he has put in the prose form. The Life Divine, it is much more amenable because there are sentences. There is nothing flowery language or anything like that. And even essays on the Gita also to some extent it may help you. That's why I say it's an open field. Some work has to be done on that field. There's no doubt about it. And some research work is needed. And it is not beyond the grasp of these compositions.
Well, now let me come back to Savitri alone. Do you think that in different books of Savitri, there are different elements of poetry in it?
I couldn't see different versions of Savitri.
No, different books of Savitri. Book of Beginning, Book of the Dialogy Verse. In different sections of Savitri, you can say, broad sections.
Yes.
Do you see that the elements of poetry are different?
No. See, the sonority and the rhythm and the flow of language is uniform throughout, irrespective of the book. But he achieves the pinnacle in the book number 11, where he gives about the foresight of a future man. Opens out fully the complete man which is dreamt of or what he foresaw. And all other areas before that has got a same rhythmic force. There is no variation, sudden variations. But subjects are there. See, one thing is, basically, you should, Sri Aurobindo himself deliberately hidden the definitions, clear definitions. But he has given the indication, the title of each canto, each title of each canto and each book. That itself is a core subject. The whole composition revolves around it, just like a Western opera. When you see the opera, in the overture, when he takes it, he composes the music of the entire within 5 minutes. The opera runs for probably 1 hour. But within 5 minutes, the whole composition of the music is kept intact. There's overtures of the opera, whether it is Beethoven, Bach, or whatever may be. Similarly, like that, Sri Aurobindo, this canto title itself will revolve around that. All his composition of that particular canto revolve around that title. So the human understanding to some extent is made easy by the title itself. That's why the basic thing is, in Savitri, let them read Life Divine, Satyasya Yoga, whatever other compositions. If I got some poetic man, the man has got a volition to read towards poetry, he will do it. He will be able to pursue Savitri and he likes it. And he also said, don't try to use mind and other things, you will understand. All these things will be there. But basically the point what I am trying to make is, the Lord has come into a full bloom of his spirituality in Savitri. Spontaneous bloom has taken place, which will not be able to convey in the prose form. The basic thing is, he actually felt what it is and he is able to express it. And the people who wanted to know basically the truth of all these things, Savitri is the best Bible, irrespective of the difficulty people will face it. It is a fundamental knowledge. It is almost like an encyclopedia, I should say. For instance, you take out any book at random in Savitri, open it up, read it, close it. What happens? You get some calmness. Some reaction will take place. It is not like prose. So, some power, hidden power is there in Savitri, because Sri Aurobindo wrote from a higher place than the mental, ordinary human level. All things, the inspiration came from higher knowledge. And I don't say he is the only man who did it, because Vedic Rishis and other things were there before, they had composed so many poems. And it was not, Vedas were not composed by a single seer, series of seers were there and just composed. But here this Sri Aurobindo, a single man is able to compose almost the complete like Vedas in 720 more pages. It's definitely a divine work. And it is for the humanity to take advantage of it. How to take advantage of it, and people like the professor and all these others should be able to do some research on this field. And I know there is a gap between the reception and the man who studies. There is a gap, there is no doubt about it. Because integral yoga is not a mass movement. Neither you can announce by the beat of drums. It is a thing which has to be done in the individual level and the collectivity follows. But only thing is you have to recognize is, it cannot be done as a collectivity and sudden new race will come. It is not like that. A few people here and there can influence the world. Numbers doesn't matter here. But it is possible to do that. And the only thing is, you see, what happens is the human has got its limitations. You can see all these words. Industry has advanced, material science has advanced, and even engineering, art, everything is advanced to a higher extent which was not imagined before. The world has become shrunk now. We can reach the moon. In email, you can send it in a few seconds. All these things were not there. But what about the consciousness of man? Is the war stopped? Hatred has stopped? Probably it must have increased. What is the human level of this new professions that are coming up? What about the new diseases have cropped up in spite of the advances made in science? All these things has got its own limitations. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, nothing is going to happen, man has to die with this only gods can say. Yeah, God will come and save it. It is a true fact. But there are only two aspects of it. There is a mandate given by the God. There is a purpose in each thing that is being done, even at random. Uncertainty of scientists is mandated by the God. It is not built by randomly. It has got a plan in everything. But you are the seekers. A few seekers in the entire world can help a great lot, provided they pursue that perseverance, that willness power is there. And a few people here and there compose all these things collectively, it is going to make it. That's why Mother has told very clearly, you collaborate. Success will be much faster if you collaborate. There are only two ways of doing it. Either you collaborate or it is going to be mandated through crash of circumstance. It is a very serious matter. It is a very serious statement also, but you have to recognize it. You can do so many things. What I am trying to tell is to make it the matter much more simple, making it different directions. These are the basic facts which you have to recognize. Then what happens? Some impetus will come within individual things to get over this difficulty. What are the things you can do? It won't come by a miracle, a solution. The man has to put his effort. Human aspiration has to be there. Personal effort, even this integral yoga is required. Personal effort, as long as your lower nature is nature, personal effort is required.
Necessary.
Conscious effort, not unconscious
of course.
effort.
Yeah.
It's very much required.
Yeah.
And Lord has given in the lot of guidance in this field.
Yeah.
And He doesn't made in a dogma, sit in this position, book number one, position number 1, 2, no. A lot of freedom is given to this author. Depending upon your swabhava, your nature, your sanskara, you can adopt your own. But the truth is one.
Yeah. In Savitri, which is your most favorite book?
Yes.
If I may ask.
Definitely. No doubt about it. Because to get that stage itself was a Herculean task, because I had the willpower to read Savitri. Nearly, I had repeated many times. I don't want to tell exact number of times. I repeated very many times. And to tell you very frankly, recently I had some health problems, and about a few days I was didn't go to this work, in the house. And then I took up book 1, canto 1.
Book 1, canto 1.
The most difficult.
Yeah.
You have to start with.
Yeah.
And that is the most favorite canto of Sri Aurobindo.
Yeah, of course.
It has gone nearly more than 25 times.
Yeah, he is right. Yeah.
Then what is there I took it. And in my presentation, I have told you in the beginning, canto 1, I quoted certain things. And there, it is not the primordial days. It is the night before the death of Satyavama.
Yeah.
Even the lords were sleeping. So the great divine event is taking place. Like that, Lord has given so many impetus like that. And in a nutshell, he is able to cover the entire human gamut in a particular aspect of it. That is how I like it. Then I understand how much fund of knowledge he has put in that canto 1.
Yeah, in
Where
one
it is become favorite. Canto 1, book 1.
Yeah, of
Simple
course.
down. Only 10 pages.
Yeah.
Hardly 10 pages, sir.
341 lines. Yeah.
You must have known. He's a scientist, you know.
Well,
Much more analytical.
Well. So that is your most favorite canto, you see. Yeah.
At that one and book number 11.
Book 11, yeah. And what about the Book of Yoga? Book 7?
Book 7 is beautiful. And when I was reading even book of travels, they were so it's too long, what to do and all that. People will say 15 cantos have come.
Yeah.
But each and every canto, when you go, he has told what is the present world, what we are seeing. They ate corruption like spiced food. What you are seeing today, 50 years back. See, all these things the Lord has dealt. And has given a solution for all these. Dig and dig, and open, light will come at the end of the tunnel. So, then you can not be disappointed. When you read Savitri, you become a much stronger man. You are able to foresaw, face anything in this world. Even death is a passing place. Man has to die one day. Immortality is not this one. Immortality of the body. You can't wear this same this one for thousands of years, or even if your immune starts smelling. So you have to regard this body. Even in the yoga, this Krishna says, we are worried about to kill your own uncles. They are casting away the body. You are not killing them. The soul is there. Like that, Lord has given certain values which you will be able to imbibe. And I am at the prime hold of my life. And I personally feel I will be in a better position to face. I don't say I can do a miracle. It will give a strength.
So that is true. I mean, book 1, canto 1, December Dawn, he wrote many times. Some lines even 25 times, draft after draft.
Put a arrow put like
that. Draft after draft you see.
And then
in contrast to that, he wrote the Book of Yoga, for instance, practically just one draft. So, what will you say about that?
You see, basically it is like this. When you start a book, you have to cover the upcoming of the future lines of the book. When you suppose a music, they do alapan. And the alapan, what he repeats in Pallavi, he is included in the same alap.
Okay.
Like that, when he wrote Savitri 725 lines, within 10 pages, he wanted to give an overall picture of that.
Yeah.
Understand? See, for instance, the same theme will go on further. For instance, he says I'll tell you an example. The earth's grain that needs the sap of pleasure and tears rejected the undying rapture's boon.
Yeah.
Mortality bears of the eternal will.
Yeah.
So, like that, she has told the same thing as repeated throughout in his complete composition, right up to the book 11 it comes. So, Sri Aurobindo took a bird's eye view of this entire composition. He had the twinkling in the canto 1 itself.
One itself.
So, it's a divine impetus. So, when you be in rapport with the divine impetus, you are not Rajanikanth, I am somebody else.
Yeah.
So, when you get that feeling, I personally feel, see, you permit me, I can tell you, this you have to stick to the high level of the composition which Lord has written it, throughout your explanation or whatever may be. For God's sake, don't dilute it. Then the very cream and rasa of Savitri will be lost. I hope whether you agree or not, that is my personal statement.
So, okay, thank you very much for sparing time and being here with us. Thank you.
I should thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here and share my joy of Savitri. Thank you.